He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
Okay, we're back.
Thank you, sir.
We're back after the election. Few tears. Few
scotches.
No, I don't believe in drinking my problems away. Never been one of those guys. Mm. Lots of people are, which is fine. I don't judge. I'll judge a lot of other shit, but I won't judge that. Okay. Few tears about the Liberal win. I'll probably do a bunch of. I'll do a couple of YouTubes on why the Liberals won. Mm-hmm. It's a fairly simple idea in my mind. And by the way, there's been a lot of good writing on it. There's a guy named David Coletto, who runs a big polling firm. I know people, by the way, maybe I should start there. So I don't want anybody who's upset with the Liberal win. I don't want anybody to think it was some kind of fix.
No.
Or some kind of steal. Okay. It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. We do not have that system, and I can just see the posts coming in now. Okay, we don't have that in our country. By the way, they didn't have it in the USA either.
No.
Okay,
we have one of the most secure voting systems in the world.
I think it's just a bunch of. I don't think any of the political parties want to steal. I don't think any of. Jesus, every time I say things like this, I think of all the comments coming in. You're wrong. You're so wrong. You fat bastard. Okay. I mean, I just see it, but no. I don't. The political parties don't support it.
No.
All of these parties support democracy, support honest elections, and there's no steal. There's no fix. There's no nothing. So that's something I think is important to say because there's going to be a bit of that, less so than the U.S. By the way, like I said the other day on a YouTube, I never understood the idea of a steal in the States when Trump said the vote was stolen. Okay.
It's just a political ploy.
No, but it's an insane ploy. But I mean, at the end of the day, here's the truth in the United States. Trump wasn't expected to win. Trump didn't even expect to win the first time. When he bet, that was the most surprised orange motherfucker in the world when he beat Hillary the first time.
I heard stories of Melania crying. She realized all the freedom's gone.
Look, he even said himself, as he was watching the results in his suite, he said, "I don't believe it. I'm winning this fucker." Okay. So that he certainly didn't complain then that there was a fix. Okay, the election wasn't fixed. Then when he lost, the election was fixed, according to Trump, which it wasn't. And then somehow when he won again, I never heard Harris say it was fixed. Okay, like I mean, like it's like there's a huge logic breakdown about fixed when you win one, lose one, and then win another one. I mean, I don't get that. Okay, not at all. So that's bullshit. No fix, folks. Don't worry. Look. Don't even talk about it. People who want to try to convince you that it was a fit steal, they are full of shit and discount everything they say. Nothing was wrong with this election. Now, people might say there was too much media bias in favor of the Liberals.
Very possible.
Old media bias, okay? Traditional television and other outlet bias. And there might have been, but I'll tell you the bias on most social media, the bias was the opposite. The bias on X was 83%, Carney's,
surprising generational.
Carney's eats babies at night. Okay, it's basically on X. Okay,
it's Jesus Christ. Where have I heard that before? But yeah, I mean, it's really surprising actually the generational gaps and the rise in sort of conservatism in the younger generations.
So it surprised you?
Yeah, it is a little surprising.
Why does it surprise you?
Well, it's because typically younger generations lean more liberal, and then as people get older, they lean conservative, right?
Correct.
And so this idea that we are seeing sort of this surge in young conservatism, I think is very interesting, is going to play a lot of interesting dynamics moving forward.
I think it's completely understandable.
Yeah, oh, for sure. So if you have a decade of shit getting fucked up, COVID, everything else, right? The economies, eventually you look for new. What's new? And you have this generation saying, I want something new. I want to buy a house. I want to be able to afford a family, right? These are all things.
All those things. It was very clear that the younger generation felt correctly, honestly, and rightfully that they were afflicted for the last particularly 5 years. And they were abused. And it doesn't make any sense why a guy in his 60s could buy a house 25 years ago for, 79 grand and a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And they have $1 million house in front of them. I mean, it doesn't make any sense because there's no affordability. The ratios of affordability are ridiculous because you just compare income to price.
Yeah.
And when you do that, it's crystal clear that young people are at a huge disadvantage in Canada today. If you want to buy a $1.1 million house, you need to make about $325,000. So it's family income. So it's ridiculous. And they all understood that. They all got it. I'm not sure they all got out to vote because let's face it, old farts vote. Okay. I mean, we vote like crazy. We vote as often as we can. We'll vote as many times as we can. And we find a way, Well,
it's actually interesting. I don't know if it's out yet. I'll have to look at this, but I want to see the spread of this record-breaking early voters. I want to see the age demographics on that.
It's all old people.
Yeah.
It's all old. It's very old. Like the initial results for a lot of people who'd already voted clearly showed a liberal bias. And you might say in the end, well, yeah, because the Liberals won, that's why. Okay, but it was a higher percentage for people who voted early than it was at the end of the general.
Oh, yeah.
So then we would say that those are people representative of people who are old.
Yeah.
Because old people can get to the advanced poll very easily. Old people got fuck all to do all day except, do things like, like they don't have any work to do. They don't have any kids to take care of. They don't have anybody to pick up at school. They got nothing to do except vote. Okay. And they do. And they vote early. So like I said, a few tears, but no recrimination. There was nothing unfair about what happened. But in terms of the old media, the support from, the old and the old style of media, the mainstream media, that's real. I mean,
well-connected people.
Yeah. But I think we could certainly lay this victory for the Liberals at the feet of old farts. Okay. And the complete sort of disintegration of the NDP vote and the significant reduction in the vote for the Bloc.
Yeah. Terrible campaigns, NDP. Terrible
everything. Terrible forever. Terrible once the end of the NDP was foretold by signing the Confidence and Supply Agreement, where you just say, I'm going to support you, Justin, the most hated human in Canada for the last 20 years.
For a historically long minority government. Minority governments don't typically last longer than what, like 15 months
18 months, 22 months.
To do it as long as of course you're going to erode your support when there's no difference between your parties because you've been aligned for so long. Of course.
And you're aligned with one of the most hated politicians in the history of Canada. Okay? He signed his own death warrant. When he signed the supply agreement, that's obvious. And he ran a shit campaign, and he is just sort of a guy who people say Pierre functions on slogans. I mean, this guy is the sloganist guy in the world.
Non-stop.
Kill the rich. I mean, we just sum it all up. Kill the rich. We'll sum up all the NDP platform in those words. Kill the rich. Which is some days is not the worst concept. Okay, but will that get us kicked off YouTube? I hope not. But it's just a phrase.
Probably
it's
not.
just a phrase. YouTube. Okay,
Settle
it's
down.
just a phrase. Okay, it's common use. Okay.
It's eat the rich. That's what they always say. Eat the
rich?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
I know some of those guys. I don't want to eat them. Okay? I do not. Look, sum it up in a simple way. The fact is that Pierre and the Conservatives designed a campaign for the last 2 years to run against Justin Trudeau or possibly one of his cabinet ministers.
A very specific type of campaign.
And it was brilliant. I mean, he had completely destroyed the Liberal vote. He was leading by 25 points. It would have been a historic Conservative majority, supermajority. And in the end, Mark Carney showed up. Krista Freeland put the knife into Justin.
Yep.
And as soon as that man who was the most hated politician for multiple generations was gone, there was a bit of a vacuum. If it had been filled by a Liberal cabinet minister, it would have had terrible results.
Literally anyone else but Mark Carney.
And then the incredible luck. Everybody says Mark Carney's the luckiest guy. Like, I give him some credit. They ran in the end, the campaign was kind of sort of got a little goofy and traditional Liberal horse shit. But when he came out of the gates and when they stayed on the theme that he's the only guy who could fight Trump, I think it went very well for them.
It's the old politics adage, right? It's better to be lucky than smart. He got very lucky.
It's always better to be lucky. I'll take lucky at the casino over smart any day. But in the end, it was a mix of fear. And one of the things we should always remember is the population of Canada. The liberal support is basically about 32 to 33% of the population built in. You have to really, really piss them off, like Justin pissed them off, to drop below 32%.
Highly centered around Ontario, Quebec, too.
Or the Maritimes, too. I mean, some in BC, but at the end of the day, there's a rock solid until you really fuck up like Justin, like royally, crazily, for a long period of time, worst guy. That's hard to erode that base. That base is pretty much there.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happened was under Carney was also Trump. So when you combine the fear of Trump, the incredible, I don't believe anybody really thought. I mean, Trump did talk about tariffs all the way through the campaign, but no one alive thought that out of the gate would be 51st state. Nobody thought
Insanity.
of that. No, nobody thought of that. That was not on anybody's projections. That was not in anybody's
And I don't think
plan.
anyone would have expected the sort of ferocity that a lot of Canadians came out swinging with their own nationalism.
No, that didn't surprise me, actually. I mean, at the end of the day, people who live in Canada, by and large, believe in Canada. So if somebody says, well, I think we should take away Canada and replace it with something else, people are going to be angry. But what happened then was, so Justin's gone. Best possible replacement might not have been the best possible replacement in a normal political year, but the almost instantaneous appearance of the Trump threat, was the tariffs were far more than everybody expected, like 10% reciprocal tariffs. All of a sudden, there's the attack on the automotive industry. There's the 51st state bullshit. The Conservative campaign had a bunch of difficulty making a total pivot. And then Carney shows up and has two masterstrokes. First is just natural. He is this gray-haired, old, soft-spoken...
He's boring
banker. Who is probably, at that moment in time, if you're a 65-year-old boomer who's scared shitless of Trump, then maybe this guy, wow, he seems like me. So that happened. Then in Quebec, nothing could have galvanized support for Carney in Quebec more than Trump. Because in the normal course of events, Quebec leans towards the Bloc because they want their rights protected, they want their culture protected, they want their language protected. But all of a sudden, probably from the rest of Canada, in reality. But when the rest of Canada doesn't count anymore, because there's this orange man and the orange man bad in the U.S. who wants to, they think, well, shit. I mean, we were worried about Canada and our culture. This is 100 times more dangerous, this thing, okay? So naturally, the swing towards a national figure who looked like... this distinguished gray-haired banker in a suit.
Well, and now that I think about it, I mean, that was sort of the appeal of Stephen Harper too, wasn't it? Boring economist who could guide the economy. So maybe there's some similarities there too.
Sweet Jesus, did he have shitty opponents?
Yes, you did.
I mean, Christ almighty, like you couldn't have picked a worse candidate than a couple of, who was the very worst one?
Ignatieff.
Yeah. Like Ignatieff, I knew like old women. I knew an old Ukrainian woman because Ignatieff was Ukrainian, and she said to me once, just in conversation during the run up to that election, she says, Ignatieff is the dibuk. He is the devil. Yeah. I can tell in his eyes. So, fuck me. There was something about that guy turned people off.
Well, I mean, he just said stupid things.
Too many stupid things.
Yeah.
Ran a stupid campaign. He was stupid, even though he's a Harvard professor. Which should make us think. But anyway, Harney the winner. We see what happens. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Not my choice. But not a steal, not a cheat, not a fix, none of those things. So my suggestion to everyone in Canada is that we acknowledge the new Prime Minister. We give support as much as we can because there is a crisis, there is a Trump, there is something to get through. But eventually that becomes solved. No crisis sustains forever. And then we go back to meticulously watching the actions of the government and
holding them accountable,
and in my case, roast them over a fucking fire. Okay, as I did with Justin for the last couple of years.
Bonfire season.
But respectfully, he is the Prime Minister. He's won the day, and let's be good. All of us who voted otherwise, let's be good losers, because bad losers is a shit thing. So let's promote the support for the Prime Minister until we don't.
Fair enough.
All right, so enough politics. Let's talk about mortgages.
Here we are.
I'll tell you one thing that I have been seeing consistently for the last couple of weeks, and it's really, really showing up in the last week.
Yeah,
was a kind of ongoing erosion in some house prices in Ontario.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Seeing it? Yeah.
Appraisals are starting to come in lower. Purchase prices, people are bidding under. Absolutely. Yeah.
And what do we think about that? Well, first of all, we think it's inevitable. Okay. Now, I'm not going to. I'm going to take 1 week off the infinite discussion of the 416 condo crash. Okay. Because
every other creator has started talking about it. Everyone else has caught up to us.
Every fucking thing that I talked about for a year, all of a sudden somebody's coming out on TikTok or on YouTube and saying, "Look at this! I've discovered something over here. These condos are going down." I mean, like, oh, for fuck's sakes, you asshole.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, like, I've been talking about it for a year. You decided you found the light. All right. So leave that alone. But here's some interesting stuff that I'm coming by. There is literally all houses are getting some kind of I shouldn't say, when you say all, it's like you're saying 1,000 out of 1,000, but so many, like a vast majority, prices are coming down. I mean, like, I'll give you an example. Couple of clients out looking at expensive houses.
Yep.
Okay. The builder it's a gorgeous house. I mean, it's a prominent neighborhood. It's a gorgeous house. It's all new, custom built, best finishes, very smart design. I mean, the very best in a famous street. Starts at 3.48.
Okay.
And nothing, like crickets. Okay. All the way down to 312.
Wow.
Like in the course of 5 months. Okay. Supposedly there's a bid. Like the people I was talking, our customers said, well, they told us there was a bid, but who knows? I don't know. That's another strategy that kind of really pisses me off. Like,
be honest.
I don't know. I don't think everybody, like, I'm not sure. In the case of a builder, they're representing themselves. They have a realtor in between, but what the builder says to the realtor could be sheer bullshit.
Of course.
Okay, and the realtor might. I don't want to say the realtor's a crook.
There's another offer. It's me. I have to buy the house now.
Fuck yeah. I don't know. Anyway, at the end of the day, I think that house is going to go for less. I think that house might go below 3, and that's quite a drop. And I think that builder's going to end up with a sale price that's like possibly as much as 20% off.
I think maybe things would have been a little bit different if the Bank of Canada had chosen to lower interest rates recently.
You think it kind of chilled things out?
I think it chilled things out, which maybe was their purpose, but I mean, it's going to cause a softening in the house prices. Yes.
Or was the softening inevitable?
Of course it was inevitable, but that's not going to help it. It's not going to stop it.
By the way, I've talked about this before. Good point. Again, I'll just touch on the 416 condo crash for a second.
You can't resist.
Can't stop myself.
Oh
the truth is that people kept asking me, is it going to spread to the other low-rise products? Okay. Which is single family, semis, duplexes, townhomes. Okay. Will it spread? Will that contagion go everywhere? And I was pretty clear I didn't think in a huge way. It's not going to mirror what's going on with the condos. Okay?
There are categories of houses, right? There's price points that will always move, just, faster or slower. And there are value differences and reduction differences in each of those categories. But sure, of course, will there be fewer people going from condos to single family housing because they can't afford to move up, right? Yes, absolutely there will be. But does that mean that there's going to be an equal reduction in price in all of these different categories? No.
No, because the other critical factor is that we quit building single family in Ontario about 7 years ago. I mean, when I say quit, I mean like, when we built, the peak was about 256,000 homes we built in Hawaii. By the way, that's like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. 95% of it was low rise. We're now looking in 2018, only 20% of all starts in Ontario were low rise.
I want to get your opinion on something. So I heard this on the news the other week, and I know you've got opinions about this person. But Mayor Olivia Chow, okay, was on News Talk 1010 about a week ago or two. And she was talking about how they had a pool where they said, okay, no development fees. We're just going to try and incentivize some builders to do something. And she said that they had about 70 different builders and developers come and say, the fees don't matter. We can't get the financing right now. The financing is too expensive for us. So even though there's lots of governments talking about waiving development fees, which will help, absolutely this will help. But financing plays a part. It always plays a part. So I'm curious about your take on that.
That's a good question. It is a complete and abject lie. It is completely ridiculously false. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. Is there a problem getting financing? Possibly. Is that an excuse to not reduce development fees? Fuck no. Okay, that is fucking stupid. That is an idiotic point. Like, Olivia Chow, by the way, you know what her idea of freezing development fees? She announced a freeze on development fees. So that Mayor Olivia Chow of Toronto conveniently forgot to mention that in the last 21 years, the city of Toronto has raised development fees 1,000 fucking % over 21 years. Okay, so it's a freeze now. Fuck you. That is ridiculous. Okay, that is. I mean, it's a freeze. I'm saving the world with a freeze. You had 1,000% increase, you lunatic. Okay, so and by the way, she's going to cut some development fees for rental housing. Like, there's literally every one of these NDP liberal politicians, they don't want to provide, and they don't want to provide any help at all for people who want to buy houses. Now, as you quite correctly said, in Mississauga and Vaughan, they've radically reduced development fees by 80%. Guess what? It turns out after the fact, they've applied to the federal government to reimburse them the 80%. Okay, so because it is actually impossible for any local politician to fucking spend less. Okay, they cannot spend less. They cannot find any savings. And I know I can hear the comments coming now. Oh, Ron, you're so foolish. I mean, they've downloaded so much to city government. It's impossible to spend less. Nobody could spend less. You can't spend less. There's never less. Okay. Well, I got some fucking news for you comments. Okay. In the real world of business, a private enterprise, if you're fucked on growth, if you're fucked on price, if you're fucked on business, that's not enough business coming in. You got to cut expenses. Yeah. I don't give a shit. Why don't we go talk to the Hudson fucking Bay, okay? About when no business is coming in, okay? What did they ask the federal government? Did the Hudson Bay Company ask the federal government, hey, we got no business coming in. How about you support us and send us a few $1 billion? They probably did, actually.
I was just saying, maybe.
That maybe happened. But like at the end of the day, please, Jesus, government, hear my cry, okay? Like, in the real world that most of us exist in, you have to make cuts all the fucking time, okay? It's not like a rose garden here where, business never goes bad, nothing. Business can go pretty fucking bad. Ask the Hudson Bay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And they didn't make enough cuts, obviously, or they didn't do the right things in business. And then you get bankrupted.
Yep.
Okay. And because government can never go bankrupt, they never try to cut spending. Ever. Fucking ever.
Yep.
Okay. So if you wonder why, Olivia Chow would say, we're going to freeze. Like 1,000% increase? I bet you could freeze. Okay. Like that's just ridiculous.
Well, I think also she maybe not fully understands.
She understands everything, Sasha. Jesus.
Well, no. So we talked about this, I don't know, maybe 2 months ago, where we live in a reality where a lot of the financing for developments comes from investors, right? And the idea is you gather funds in order to start the development, and you have a reasonable expectation as an investor that in 3, 4, 5 years, however long the building takes to build, that your investment will have increased in value and you can then sell it. And that's how a lot of our buildings get built, right? And so when you have a situation where investors no longer feel confident in that type of investment, of course they're not going to help you finance the build because it doesn't make financial sense. So
okay, so let's when a developer says that the financing costs are too high, in some ways they're not lying.
No, of course,
but they're also not telling the whole story. So how about this? And here's because there's one thing. Like I'm happy to take developers to the woodshed. Like fuck them. Okay. Like I mean, I'll tell you what they did. Developers built such a shitty product and decided with the help of City Hall, because by the way, every government, what have we heard from municipal governments for the last 25 years? 3 things. We heard 3 things. Density, density, density.
Yep.
Okay. Like squeeze more people into smaller spaces was the mantra of all city governments. It was the mantra of the provinces. It was everybody's mantra.
Yeah.
Oh, there was some like
walkable cities,
the dirty whores with 15-minute cities and the walkable cities, and fuck you all, okay? Like honestly, fuck you all, okay? This is the dumbest shit in the world. Yes, some people want it, but the position of these municipal governments, the cities, the towns, the provinces, even the feds, was not just that you may want it, you're going to fucking take it, okay? You're going to take that, all right? No, that's crazy. We live in a big country. Yes, I'm going to have to hear the shit about, but Ron, like most of it you can't. Yeah, because we built a Greenbelt moat around the GTA and created false scarcity, did all that stupid shit. Okay, sure we did. But we're Canada, for the love of God. I mean, other than Vancouver, who can have some legitimate discussion of geographic boundaries. You got mountains on one side, a river on the other, an ocean on the other. I mean, you got a case, okay? We'll listen to that shit, okay? Yeah. But every place else, no, I'm not listening to that bullshit. There's artificial Greenbelt that surrounds the greater Toronto area and greater Hamilton so that you can't build anywhere. And because it's precious, because it's the best farmland in the world, fuck yourself. It is not the best farmland in the world. Oh, but it's watershed too, Ron. There's a lake out there. There's Lake Ontario, okay? There's no lack of fresh fucking water in Ontario. None. Zero, okay? So if you've been listening to this infinite bullshit. Let me tell you where this I get passionate about this because it makes me so fucking mad. Like, if you listen to all these sons of bitches who live in the Greenbelt area saying, oh, you have to protect us farmers. You sons of bitches, you're just holding out for higher prices, you dirty, dirty bastards, okay? Like, seriously, it's just about you not wanting a neighbor. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get to live in Caledon with all kinds of other millionaires like Galen Weston, who had like 18,000 French cobblestones brought into Caledon to make his fucking driveway for 1.5 miles. Yeah, he doesn't want any neighbors. None of the other rich motherfuckers there want any neighbors. Yeah, that's the real fucking story. Sure. There's a few. There is some great farmland in the Greenbelt. There is some. It exists. Most of it's just shit and bush and rocks and trees and fuck all nothing. Yeah. Okay, we'll save that farmland. But again, everybody wants to talk about watershed. Mm. You are fucked in the head. Okay, there's a lake. We could put straws in that lake and all suck fresh water out of it till we're 180 years old. And it wouldn't even drop an inch. Okay, like this is I'm going to be 100 comments now. Ron, you don't understand the environmental context of the Greenbelt. Ron, you don't know. Ron, you're wrong. Ron, this, and they all turn out to be some fucking professional environmental scientists who get paid by the government to say shit, or they're these dirty, dirty sons of bitches who are in the Greenbelt and like it the way it is and want to tell everybody else it can't change. Okay. It's all a goddamn scam. That's going to be my new position. I've decided to go all in on this, okay? The Greenbelt's a scam, period, okay? It's a scam developed by developers, assholes who live in the Greenbelt, environmental bullshitters, okay? That's it. It's a scam, okay? The sooner we figure out it's a scam, the better. And by the way, because Doug Ford is a buffoon, okay, when he decided to try to get some land out of the Greenbelt, the only thing that came to his mind was, let me give special deals to my rich developer friends. Yeah. That way, when I leave this job eventually, they'll piece me off with millions of dollars in after government bribes. Okay, that's. I'm sorry, we can't call it a bribe.
It's just an incentive.
We'll call it an incentive. Yeah, with other incentives. Okay, like. Because somebody explained to me when Mike Harris left office, I'm not saying he's a dumb man, he's a smart man, but when Premier Mike Harris left office, his previous work had been school teacher and golf pro, okay? And yet somehow, after he leaves 8 years of being the Conservative Premier of Ontario, somehow the golf pro and the teacher got like 15 board memberships and all kinds of money to be a consultant for everybody, okay? Oh, yeah. I'm not sure how that happened. Probably it was just an example of his genius.
An incentive.
It's just an incentive. Okay. So I'm so fucking tired of this shit. Okay?
I think that's fabulous content. You're going to have an equal amount of people in the comments riling saying, this is why I watch the podcast. Yeah. Ron, get more angry.
Look, I mean, it is Angry Mortgage. All you people who want calm, fuck you. This stuff makes my blood boil. Okay, like we have been so scammed by land use in Ontario. Again, like I am sympathetic to the Lower Mainland. I was born there. Okay, the mountains go up into the sky. You can't build on top of the mountain. Okay,
it's called the sea to sky.
Yes, the inlet is there. The Fraser River is there. Best wishes building in the middle of the Fraser River. That ain't going to work out either. I mean, it is it is legitimately a geographically hemmed in location. Okay, and by the way, you could actually make a case that is great farmland as you go deeper into the Fraser Valley. That's a real case you could make. Okay,
for sure.
Like in this, when I take a drive around the so-called Greenbelt in Ontario, it's just fuckery. There's a few farms, mostly just shit. Okay, empty shit. All right, so that's an important factor. So these developers are talking about high cost of financing. But it's not high cost of financing. The costs have actually come down from the peak 2 years ago. What the real truth is that no bank is going to give them any money because there is a glut of garbage product that they built. They built so many dog crate condos that nobody fucking wants. They were so overpriced, not blaming the developers too much on that one, because I believe in free enterprise. So if somebody who made a ton of money buying a $300,000 condo and then selling it by assignment for $475 a few years later, and then buys a 460 condo and sells it for 600 a few years later, and then finally loses their fucking minds and buys a 820 square foot 820,000 shitty condo.
Dog crate, yeah.
And expects that to sell for $1 million 5 years later. I'm sorry, but you rolled the dice once too often.
Yeah.
That's reality.
Yeah.
So, and again, city planning, walkable cities, 15-minute cities, fuck you all, okay? Like, it's fine. There's some people want it. A lot of people don't want it, okay?
Alberta.
And don't fucking force it down people's throats. No, you're wrong, Ron. It needs to be forced down people's throats. I got something to force down your throat if you think that, okay? Like, I mean, nothing mean. I'm not being mean, but it's ridiculous, okay?
There's no
ridiculous.
crying at Butler Mortgage.
There's no crying. No crying in baseball, no crying at Butler Mortgage, okay? Like, this is so crazy that everybody has to succumb to what bureaucrats want. That is nuts, okay? But it reached its apex. They built way too many dog crate condos, way too many sub 500 square feet, sub 550 square foot condos. Nobody wants them. They're incredibly overpriced. There has to be a major correction on it. And yeah, the bank says, well, until we solve this condo crisis, we're not going to give anybody new financing.
Yep.
So that story of Olivia Chow's, I've gone through a massive amount of profanity and ugliness to get there.
That's why people are here.
But that story of Olivia Chow's is a complete fantasy, totally wrong, and utter fiction. Okay. Reality, and by the way, some types of houses are easy to sell. If you've got a semi-detached that's under $1.6 million to sell in Core 416 today, it sells in about 10 days.
Sure.
Because it's a product people want.
Yeah.
If you can't even get this, but if you wanted to buy a townhouse in 905 in a good location, properly priced at under $1 million, maybe it's $850, maybe it's $780, maybe it's $810, whatever, it will sell.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But because we went through this insanity of the 2021 ramp up, the FOMO in 2021, where a house at like a 3,800 square foot home in Newmarket sold for $2.4 million. Okay. Or a 3,400 square foot home in Brampton, North Brampton, sold for $1.9 million, 2.1. Okay. And that's stupid. Yeah. It's just stupid that it happened. And more to the point, now that students have to go, temporary foreign students are going back. Yeah. Student visas are over. They're going back. It was a ripoff. I feel as bad for the students.
Awful. These awful college scams. Awful.
That's a total scam. Okay. And now the basements in Brampton that used to be filled with, 18 futons and making money are emptying out. Okay. And that's now a problem. But that's just the way the world works. And that house was never, ever worth $2.1 million. It doesn't make any sense, okay? It basically values the land of a lot in Brampton that's an hour and 20 minutes away from the city core at about $1.6 million, okay? Which is utter nonsense, okay? All of these, and we could talk about land prices, but we'll get there another day. The reality is this. There will be a grind down in all kinds of prices. If you're in the wrong region and paid the wrong price 4 years ago, you're going to see continuous price reduction. Yeah. If you're in a prime location, you're probably still going to see some price reduction. Okay, like I talked about, those guys who built this incredibly beautifully finished 3,400 finished basement, like spas, cold plunge, you name it. This is like fancy. They've already come down $400,000. Yeah. Okay. I mean, and they're going to keep going. Yeah. And will they lose money? Depends what they paid for the land.
Depends how long they hold it. Maybe if they hold it long enough, who knows?
Who knows? But at the end of the day, prices will come down. Prices will come down in Ontario. They're just, this is the beginning.
Yes.
This is not the end. Like, and please, I did a video on this, but I want to say it again. For everybody who is on the hopium bong.
Hopium,
I can't say hopium pipe anymore because I got 12 replies that said, "What are you, like 100, you bastard?" I mean, like, there's no hopium pipe. There's no pipe. There's a bong. Okay.
Hopium
so
bong.
This is to explain this properly. This is a bong full of hope gas.
Yeah.
Not weed vape. Okay. This is hope gas. Okay,
fantasy and pixie
and
dust.
you suck on this bong, and you blow out the hopium, and you say, you know what? We just have to wait till the fall, and the prices will all come back.
No.
Fuck no, they're not coming back in the fall, okay? No. They will come back someday. I don't know which day, I don't know which year, but not this year and not next year, okay?
Well, to tie that into rates really, really quickly here, and this is sort of what we've pivoted to at Butler Mortgage, is we're recommending if you can get a good rate 5-year fixed, just take it.
Yeah, if you can get a sub 4, we're very cautious in saying you can get sub 4%. If you're like a over 4% rate, like you're around 4.4 is your offer from your bank, you might want to think about going variable, because variable will come down another 0.5%.
Yep.
Because the economy ain't getting any better, folks.
No.
It'll come down 0.5%, and you may indeed have another opportunity to get a sub 4% rate. You may have, because rates have gone up.
Yeah.
I mean, bond yields up. Rates up.
Yeah.
So you may, Ron, you just said they were going down. That was a different video, guys. I mean, we're not going to do that all today again. But at the point that I'm making is this: we have a very decent chance that we'll see further cuts by the Bank of Canada.
Yes.
At least 0.5%, maybe 0.75%, maybe even more if the recession is bad enough.
But just remember, this is a very common misconception. I talk to people about this every single day.
Yep.
When you have a variable rate and you're looking to lock it in, you are not getting the variable rate locked in. You're getting whatever the posted fixed rate is at the time.
Yeah, you get the rate at the time. That's why you have to watch rates.
Yeah.
There's a rate website called wawa.ca.
Great website.
And if you watch that website, it will even tell you what the bank's rates are.
Yeah.
Okay. And it will tell you what probably the bank's sort of not necessarily their best rate, but an accurate reflection of what you get. And if you want to watch that as you have a variable mortgage, and you just have to put the effort in. You can't just say, oh, should we look at that? No, let's leave it, see what happens. No. If you got a variable rate mortgage and you have a rational plan that you want to lock in at 369, 379, whatever it is, then you have to pay attention.
You do.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And you have to do your homework. Look, good deals aren't given away. Okay. You have to invest, and you have to spend the time to get that. You have to look, check, phone, and okay, it's not available this time. Wait another month. Check again.
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong with that? You know, you can save thousands and tens of thousands of dollars just by investing a little time. Who cares? All right, do it. But yeah, those are the two possibilities. 3.99 fixed rate, 5-year fixed. Don't take the 3-year fix. The 3-year fix could easily put you into the soup at the end of 3 years, okay? Yep. Not a good soup either. A hot, nasty soup, okay?
Just a shit soup.
Shit soup, all right? So don't do that.
We'll reference this video in 3 years when we come back.
Don't do that.
The shit soup video.
Yeah, I'll be dead. I don't have to worry.
Be dead.
I might be dead. I mean, I'm old. I'm 68. I could easily be dead, okay? Look, I mean, here's the reality. If I was like that 68-year-old Swede who ran a half marathon every quarter, I'm going to probably bet on making it to 71, okay? But I am not that Swede, okay? I am one tub of lard.
Spite and anger go a long way, Ron, in longevity.
Yeah, they you know, and I keep telling everybody says, Ron, you got to look after your health. You got to look after your blood pressure. You know, you got to calm down. And the thing I'm trying to impress on everyone is, I am the virus. I feel fine when I'm angry. After I'm finished being mad, I'm fine again. Everybody else is fucked up around me. They're all fucking running around pissed off and angry and high blood pressure.
We had a spicy day at Butler Mortgage today.
We had a spicy day today. But my blood pressure is fine. It's not fine. I got to take like 2 different blood pressure meds because I'm too fat. Okay, so this will when you're 68, this will come and bite you. You'll have to take meds. Okay,
yeah.
But I feel fine. But I don't think, you know, have you ever gone to a long-term care home?
Yeah.
You will notice that most of the men who are in their 70s and 80s in these long-term care homes, they are like stick men. They are the skinniest men you're ever going to see, okay?
It's all the cardio from the sex.
No, well, there's that. I mean, although sometimes if there's too much senility and Alzheimer's going on, nobody remembers. People don't remember what to do. How do I do this? I used to know. I can't remember.
God.
Anyway, the bottom line is this. When you go to that old folks home, that extended, you can't say old folks home anymore. You get canceled. But I think I'm past being canceled.
What's wrong with old folks?
I've said so many bad things. I think I'm past canceling. So the deal is this. There are skinny men left. There's a few guys that are a little chunky. There's no enormous fat fuck like me at any of these old folks' homes. They're in the box. They're in the dirt nap. Okay, they took the dirt nap long before. And the reality is, No, I'm not wishing for an early demise, but I'm realistic about, am I going to see 83? No, I am not. Okay.
Time will tell.
And that's fine. Well, I don't want to see 83. Okay. Because
then the shit stoops just in your pants.
Well, there's that. Absolutely. I don't want my life on depends is not, what I want to feature. And also I don't really want to not know my name. Okay. Like look, folks, don't take this the wrong way. I know there's people caring for elderly relatives with Alzheimer's and with diminished capacity, and bless you. And I know it's very, very hard. I'm not trying to make fun of that at all. But I also am at my core one of the most realistic people that I can ever find, that I ever know. That was my goal, to be realistic my whole life and to tell the truth. And the truth is, that's a bad way to live. Like that last stages of Alzheimer's is very, very hard. It's very, very hard on caregivers. It's no fun for the person at all. I mean, it's a life of diminished darkness. And my goal is not to
die in a fit of rage.
But again, look, I want to be really, really serious. I know so many people who are caregivers to people who have diminished capacity, and it's so hard. And really, thank you everybody who looks after old people. Thank you very much. I have to take a serious tone because I know it, like I live it. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to have to worry about what happens in 3 years. Definitely, I keep saying 5 years because nobody's going to have to bookmark that. Nobody's going to come back and say, Ron said, oh yeah, no Ron. So that's why I'm pushing 5-year fix.
Oh my God.
Anyway, okay, look, we come to our favorite part of the program.
This is the least amount of swearing today. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, this was kind of we didn't build up to this. We went through this. What the actual fuck? Like I just gotta say this out loud. This whole issue of development fees is fuckery, and it is the most. I know I talked about it earlier, but I just got to come back to it. This is the most aggravating insanity in the world. In Vancouver and Toronto, we have some of the lowest residential property taxes in the whole of fucking North America. Like, if you showed the property taxes in the city of Toronto to somebody living in Mississippi, they'd say, that looks like a pretty good deal, because it is. Okay. And yet everybody bitches and moans and complains about the property tax. Everybody does. Like, it's the most universal thing, hated thing. And so many arguments in favor of development fees is, yeah, but we can't have the property tax go up. It's too high already. It is not too high already. It is not. When you go into the United States and compare it to some cities, some states, it is not too high. And for the love of God, people who are enjoying these, you're paying $10,000 a year on a $3 million house. Okay. Look, if you were in Texas, you'd be paying $45,000 okay, on a $3 million house. Listen, you're using the services. You are using the services. That's real. And to say that you want somebody who is 27 years old or 28 years old to pony up $100,000 of development fees on a condo, a 650 square foot condo, is criminal. Okay. And you know what the most important thing is? You didn't have to do it. When that house you're living in was built 40 years ago, the development fees were like $180 or $650. They were nothing. Okay. The thing that pisses me off about boomers like me is that we always tell everybody how hard we worked and how it was really tough on us. No, listen to me. Your development fees on that house you bought were nothing. They were nothing. Okay. So that's my rant of the day. For the love of Jesus, yes, some of your property tax might have to go up a bit, but we got to quit gouging young people on development fees. Okay, folks, see you next week.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.